It's a story from 2023, April 19th, the awakening of Anna Kasparian. But more has happened since then. Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks, who is a progressive, has posted this, independent and unaligned, September 30th. The result, of course, is Cenk TYT being pressured to fire Anna. He says, for extreme leftists, or whoever you are, and whatever you'd like to call yourself, who would like me to fire Anna Kasparian for being open-minded instead of agreeing with you 100% of the time, as you demand, here's my answer. No, F off. Bravo, Cenk TYT, sir. You know, Cenk TYT is an interesting guy. I used to have a lot of respect for him. My respect for him went down, and I'll tell you why. Because I saw him at Politicon, 7 years ago or something. He had run on his channel a smear of Dave Rubin. Whatever. They used fake news to justify their smear of Dave Rubin, for which their thumbnail had my name in the middle of their fake smear piece. It was like this bunch of red lines connecting people and stuff and conspiracies. And so I saw Cenk because I know him and have known him for years. And the last time I talked to him, we were very friendly. And I was like, hey, Cenk, you posted this video thing or whatever, and it's got my name. I've been trying to reach out to you and just say, I don't know what your beef is with Dave Rubin, but I just really don't want to be involved. And he just blew up at me and started yelling at me. He's yelling at me in the middle of Politicon. BBC runs up there filming, and I was like, why are you yelling at me? And he's like, you're a MAGA guy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's nuts. Because this was 2017. I had not endorsed Donald Trump. I was speaking out mostly against him, critical of him, just not lying, I guess. And so then my respect for him went down quite a bit. But in the past couple of years, he's been coming around, and largely Anna Kasparian has been coming around. She has this post. She says, after Trump came onto the political scene, and especially after he was elected in 2016, the us versus them mentality immediately took shape. Anyone who refused to resist Trump was seen as a threat to the country, and I was fully on board with that mindset. It all felt righteous at first, but eventually the tactics deployed to fight Trump became repetitive, boring, and ultimately fruitless. Polling shows that he has increased his support among Black and Latino voters despite wall-to-wall coverage on his unsavory, racist, and bigoted remarks. I'm going to pause there and say, which ones? Because I'm not familiar with those. Several years of media raising alarm over Trump's threat to democracy has only resulted in a tight presidential race between himself and Kamala Harris. I can't help but acknowledge that the only thing that was accomplished by resisting Trump was less understanding and more division among Americans. I personally became reluctant to challenge my side or engage with voters who disagreed with me. In turn, I became less knowledgeable about the people and world around me. I saw Republican voters as an evil monolith, and that was a big mistake. My evolution started in 2022 when I was sexually assaulted by a homeless man in my neighborhood as I was walking my dog. That horrible experience alone didn't change me politically, but the treatment I received from the far left and some progressives after sharing my story did. I was told that by publicly sharing what had happened to me, I was stigmatizing my unhoused neighbors. Others accused me of feeding into racist tropes because they assumed that my attacker was Black. But I never even disclosed the man's race. He was white. Not only did I suddenly see the flawed thinking of some of the left, I also witnessed their cruelty and hypocrisy in real time. These terrible traits that I had associated solely with my political opponents were obviously not exclusive to their tribe. I was stupid for ever thinking that was the case. That doesn't mean everyone on the left thinks or behaves in the way this small group of lunatics do, far from it. But it does mean that there are factions and flaws on both sides of the aisle, and no one has a monopoly on truth. But I got to tell you, Anna, that reality has a right-wing bias, at least right now. Then there was the insane reaction to one of my tweets in March 23. And I'll tell you why it has a bias. Because Anna Kasparian's a progressive, and when she tweets this, the left loses their mind. She says, I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this ish. All hell broke loose after I posted those words. Most friends in left-wing media didn't bother reaching out privately to discuss their disagreement with my personal preference. Instead, many self-described socialists took it upon themselves to profit from conflict by publicly attacking me with monetized videos. Hey, Young Turks, remember when you did this to me? I'd like to give a shout out to the Young Turks when I ran a segment talking about how scientific articles have come out showing conservatives tend to be more attractive than liberals. I then talked about privilege and why the left was actually correct about privilege, and this proves it. And the Young Turks, I think it was actually Anna, said, well, Tim's ugly. Look at his face. He's not much of a looker. Thanks for monetizing fake outrage. But I can say this with respect. You're coming around, okay? Look, I don't make videos saying, can you believe what Anna Kasparian said? What a moron. The video I make is, wow, Anna Kasparian, seeing the light, understanding what's going on, and I respect it. The title of this video is not going to be Tim Pool's mad at Anna Kasparian because she's ugly or something dumb like that. I'm only making this video because she's telling the truth. She's having a realization, and that's good news for everybody. You don't see me making videos every other day about Sam Cedar. The dude's got a hard-on for me, and he won't stop. But I got to hand it to him. When he puts out a video and gets 500,000 views, at least my name gets more search engine optimization, whatever. These people are obsessed with insane nonsense. This is exactly what I've been talking about, why I can't stand the left. Bro, you want higher taxes? Okay. You want to tax the rich? Sure. You want more access for abortions? Okay. Make your arguments. I'll listen and we can discuss it and we can be friends. Because I got a lot of friends on the right, Christians, conservatives, and they say, Tim, one day you'll see the light, one day you come around. But we're working together to live together, to be friends to the best of our abilities. The left? Nah. People that I knew for a long time just put up fake news every day so they can make money off the conflict, as Anna points out. So how's that, huh? A smaller leftist YouTube show put out 5 separate videos skewering me about the tweet, while conveniently erasing the advocacy I had done on behalf of the trans community throughout my career. They even went as far as drawing a link between my tweet and trans suicides, which sadly wasn't the most unhinged outcome of the debate. TYT's volunteer YouTube chat moderators quit over the tweet, and some even reported me to Human Resources. An on-air trans contributor even resigned from the company after being urged by online mobs and leftist shows to do so. Curious that not one of those shows hired her after she took their advice. I never apologized for the tweet, and I never will. That whole experience forced me to come to terms with the intolerance of the left and allowed me to publicly reject the ideological shackles that kept my world small and less informed. I'm going to say this. With all due respect, I don't believe Anna was completely blind to this. I think it was just that when it was weaponized against her, she got upset about it. That's my personal opinion. With all due respect, I am actually a fan of many of the things Anna has been pointing out. I'm glad she is speaking out about this. It's great. I'm a fan that Cenk, I respect it, is saying she's allowed to say what she wants. But I am not a fan of how they, Young Turks in the past, have lied about me and many others. Okay? They've slowed down on it. Maybe they've realized it's a bad course of action. The videos they put out about me where they were lying got blasted with dislikes, and the comments were like, you are liars and you're disgusting. And maybe they started to realize we're on the wrong side of this. Yeah. She says, today I'm less certain and more curious than I was 4 years ago. I've made humiliating mistakes while covering political news because I was previously unwilling to consider or understand the perspective of Americans who vote differently from me. She says, what to expect from Unaligned. I'm hungry for dialogue, a space for in-depth analysis, and a judgment-free zone. Well, I will also add, we have been working to book Anna Kasparian for a long time. She has agreed to come on either the Culture War podcast or Timcast IRL and have these discussions. However, scheduling has been less than easy, I would say. As it goes with many on the left, they are resistant to actually coming on the shows, while the right, I got to be honest, there's probably a right-wing dude outside, like Benny Johnson. He's outside right now, knocking on the door being like, Tim, let's do a show together. I'm kidding, Benny, you're great, but he's not here. My point is, I can't walk 10 feet, figuratively, without some conservative being like, you want to do a collab? And I'll be like, let's see what we can do. We get requests to come on the show all the time. We booked this young liberal dude for the Culture War, started planning everything out. He said, yes, I'll do it. And then, of course, the last minute, he goes, I won't come. Not coming. Bye. Why not? Because they can't handle it. They know they can't handle it. Now, shout out to Cenk TYT. He came on Culture War podcast. He was running for president. He came on the show. We had a debate. It was a big show. Got 500,000. These are the shows we want to do. We want to have these conversations. But liberals don't do it. Now, Anna Kasparian's unaligned. Well, yeah, I mean, so am I. I'm not a Charlie Kirk conservative. I'm not TPUSA. I don't wear a suit. I don't have a tie. I wear jeans, and this is the closest this black shirt that I'm wearing is a Volcom shirt. It's a skateboard brand. I wear clothes like skateboarders did, I guess, in like 2008. I'm not going to wear a suit. I don't go to church. I'm not a Christian. I'm not an atheist. But this is what it means to be politically homeless or unaligned. This is a new faction. And I got to tell you, Anna, we're voting for Donald Trump. We can criticize Donald Trump, and I don't get people throwing pie in my face. Now, don't get me wrong. The Trump's most ardent supporters will smack talk periodically. But I know that if I sit down with, say, like Alex Brusewitz, who does campaign work for the right, if I sit down with Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Or if I know that if I sit down with Trump himself and I say, here are the issues I take with what you've done and my criticisms, they're going to say, okay. They're not going to scream at me. They're not going to say, you can never hang out at my party again. They're going to say, how do we win this guy over? That has been the MO of the right the whole time. And the left brought this up a while ago. Back in like 7 or 8 years ago, they said that the right is love bombing people. Fine. Let it be love bombing. I can sit down with the most ardent Trump supporter and we will smile and laugh together and shake hands. Even when I say I'm critical of Trump over 59 Tomahawk missiles fired in Syria, they'll probably say, you know what? We agree with that. I'm going to say, I don't like that Trump launched the 2 weeks to slow the spread, the beginning of the mandates. And they'll say, you're probably right about that. Donald Trump himself at his rallies totes Operation Warp Speed and they boo him. Look the video up. It happened. Because Trump supporters are not a monolith. Trump supporters are not a cult. But the left will cast you out like they did the moment you even say, please don't call me a birthing person. They go, how dare you? You will be called what we tell you you are called. The changes, well, they're welcome. She goes on to say the point of this new project is the pursuit of intellectual freedom and open-mindedness. I want to nurture curiosity without fear of offending the sensibilities of loyal partisans. I reject arguments about the evils of platforming people who are considered too naughty to converse with. I want to facilitate dialogue. I don't know what my political identity or label is. I'm not even sure I want to be pigeonholed. This is my effort in pursuing extreme honesty and humility in the quest for common ground and truth without the constraints of tribal identity. Hear, ma'am. You know, I was a big fan of the Young Turks back in the day. And then I feel like they chased after this ridiculous cult-like mentality. You ready for this one? Over on Reddit, Ask a Liberal, what are your thoughts on the Young Turks host Anna Kasparian leaving the left? She now claims to be an independent unaligned. One of the reasons why she left is because of the extreme politics of the far left eating their own. Unchecked wokeism from progressives and hypocritical leftists. I think the two things that most stuck out to me were, and then posts this paragraph, an interview with Jillian Michaels. She went on to talk about some people on the left as empower and infantilize minorities. Is Anna just being a reactionary to personal negative experiences and painting the left with broad brushstrokes? Or does she have a valid point that we on the left don't do enough to criticize the negative aspects of our big tent party? You're not a big tent party. Nice try. When disaffected liberals and post-liberals are lining up with Trump supporters and RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Elon Musk and Donald Trump, we're the Unity Party. You are the weird cult. Here you go. This person says, I haven't watched TYT in years, but I checked back a few months ago after seeing that Jimmy Dore was hanging with Alex Jones now. Can't say I'm surprised. This one says, seems performative as the left isn't something you have to declare your allegiance to or independence from. It's not a political party. Just let your views speak for themselves. It's a good indication that professional outrage farmers on either side aren't doing it because of deeply held beliefs. Changing your mind about something can be good, but changing your mind in conjunction with a new media venture is transparently grifty. Uh-huh. Sure. Well, I'll just wrap it up by saying shout out to Anna Kasparian for speaking some truth and realizing what's going on. I respect it. I'm going to wrap this segment up there. So smash that like button and subscribe. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We got more segments coming up for you, my friends. There are some great articles here that we're not going to be able to get into. But I've got a lot of stuff lined up that we should be talking about. The bake and the cake stuff we could probably get into. What do we have here? We definitely got to do the violent crime. Debunking the lies from the left on violent crime will be the next segment. For those that are watching, that segment will be coming up shortly. For everybody else, we will grab your super chats.